Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and in today's journey through the Starmap, we're going to stop off in a system that spent most of its time shrouded in mystery, and that's the Chronos system. Now, discovered in 2863, Chronos is listed as officially been discovered by the UEE's 18th Battle Fleet. However, that's actually the subject of an argument and a court battle of Contrarily versus UEE. Now, Contrarily makes the claim that his great-grandfather discovered the system prior to the UEE, and when he found that information, he ended up taking that over to the 18th Battle Fleet, that was stationed in the nearby Kellogg system. Now, once word of the discovery got out, though, it was the UEE that claimed ownership that they found it, and rumor has it that Contrarily's claim was discredited based on his involvement with poaching. And historians have started picking sides, and no one really knows which is true, who's going to end up winning this court battle, but for now, it's at least up to the court to figure out. The Chronos system is actually a very small system, with only 2 planets that are orbiting the G-type star. And that was all that was really there when the system was discovered. Chronos 1 is known as Brooder, and it orbits very close to the star, meaning that there's this intense heat which prevents people from getting at the valuable metallic ore that's located on the planet. So while it's actually a useful inner world, it's not much good until we can protect our ships a little bit better from the heat. Chronos 2 is known as Schwester, and is a planet that has a lot of greenhouse gases that are trapped inside the atmosphere. Now, these gases in this planet actually ended up being the scene of a pretty big governmental scandal in 2925. Money had ended up being allocated for platforms to harvest and refine the gases that are on the planet. However, when an audit took place on a visit, the sites were discovered to have never been built, and instead, the head of construction, Ellie Canis, had been collecting those funds for herself. Now, the reason for the collection of this gas and refining was for some sort of secret government action that had the public curious and nervous about what on earth was taking place in the system, and wondering what the hell was costing so much here. One thing that really had the public questioning things was why the government would take a small, out-of-the-way system with 2 uninhabitable planets and turn it into a system that was restricted for government use only. Top that off with sightings of large military convoys entering the system on a regular basis, and you had speculations running wild with thoughts of military weapons of mass destruction, all the way to the invisible super-secret space stations. Now, activists continued to try and figure out what was happening here, and one even ended up finding a way to stow away on a military vehicle, and when she ended up reporting back, she said that there was nothing of note happening there. Now, most people would think that this would set the people at ease. However, that just sent people off the deep end thinking that the only way someone would possibly say that nothing was happening here was if the government ended up trying to silence her in some way, meaning that there was surely some massive cover-up happening here. Eventually, Imperator Salahai announced what the mystery was all about, and that was the creation of a completely man-made world known as Synth World, under the mysterious project name of Archangel. The creation of the synthetic world was really exciting for people, and that meant that we could no longer be forced to be restricted to systems that only had worlds that were in the green band. We could potentially just build a planet to our liking in the appropriate location to ensure that we had a planet that was custom-made to humans' liking. Now, the star in Chronos was similar to Sol, and the 2 natural planets were close enough to the star that we could build outside of those a planet in the perfect location. Chronos was also far enough away from more populated space and didn't have a lot going for it, so it was a good location to try this initiative with as little attention being drawn to it as possible. This project had everyone excited, and we saw this huge influx of traders hauling goods into the system, scientists studying what they could, and what it would end up meaning for us as a race, and the general population anxiously waiting for a new age in human expansion. However, development took way longer than anyone had ever expected, and interest started to fall as people waited. Now, as time ended up passing, tempers about the cost to the Empire really began to rise, and people began to call it a financial vampire that was no longer a symbol of hope. It was an idealistic project that had little application coming from it, with a lot of cost associated with it. So that's basically what's going on in the Chronos system. So who's going to want to come here? Well, there's mentions of haulers and traders that are dropping off goods to the system, specifically at Archangel Station. But most importantly, people are using this as a travel point to get to the Brana system. Now, other than that, the lore mentions that there isn't much of a reason to come here. Now, I can think of a few possibilities for players, though, including being a decent piracy location. And while there's likely going to be higher than usual military presence, there probably isn't much in the way of a local militia. And when you have a large traffic lane for trade, I wouldn't be surprised to see some good locations to pick people off to get some goods. Now, in that same vein, being an escort pilot for transporters probably has value as well. Now, I for one plan to come here to see what this planet looks like, and I think a lot of people are going to wonder what this man-made planet is all about. Now, we could theorize about other activities, like potentially trying to find new ways to mine on the two inner worlds, or refueling operations, or potentially even bringing in Endeavor or Reliant Sin to do some research here to see what we can learn from a new environment. But it's just so vague that it's hard to say for sure. And this is one of the systems that I just scratch my head and say, I don't have a whole lot of good ideas here. So we're going to need to just see how it all plays out. But if you have great ideas, I'd love to hear them. So please get those in the comments. Otherwise, stay tuned for a whole lot more content. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Take care.